This is Compound Interest. From Jacobin.com, which I previously thought was a somewhat reputable leftist rag before they erroneously reported the death of Noam Chomsky. Fake news. In Germany, Tabloid Bild is leading a campaign to name and shame pro-Palestine activists. H.P. Loveshaft, a Jewish drag king, which I guess is a woman who dresses like a dude. I thought those were just called career women. And protester who faced a wave of abuse after a Bild hit piece tells Jacobin how his identity has been weaponized against him. Henceforth, I will be editing the pronouns used by the Jacobin to she/it or she/it. On February 12th, Der Spiegel, one of the largest news magazines in Germany, published a video titled Protests Against Jews. Its focus was a pro-Palestine protest at the Free University, FU, Berlin's largest such institution. The leader of the protest calls himself H.P. Loveshaft, identifies as trans, uses the pronouns he/it, and, quote, came eye to eye with the cosmic anus, the narrator grimly intones, while photos of H.P. in drag taken from his Instagram and website scroll across the screen. If you stare too long into the gosmic bussy stares also into you. On May 21st, Bild, a Berlin-based tabloid with a higher circulation than any other newspaper in Europe, printed an article identifying what it called the hardcore of Israel haters. In it appear the faces and names of various people who have attended pro-Palestine protests in Berlin. Bild identifies them as terrorist supporters and implicitly as anti-Semites. H.P. Loveshaft's colorful hair appears halfway down the page, her/its face contorted as her/its hands are pulled behind her/it by the police. H.P. Loveshaft behaves ever more aggressively at pro-Palestine protests, writes Bild, attacking journalists or screaming at the police. It complains that she/its work is funded by a public performing arts fund, our taxes. Oh man, Bild, your tax dollars go to things you don't like? That really sucks, Bild. Mine go to bombs that kill children. I'm not really fond of that. But a performing arts fund, huh? I'm doing a big think. H.P. Loveshaft is a Russian-American drag king and student based in Berlin. She/it is also Jewish, a fact that both Spiegel and Bild neglected to mention, despite the kippah it wore to the Free University protest. She/it was not involved in organizing the FU event and only offered to moderate. I'm a drag king, a professional full-time performer, she/it explained. I'm quite comfortable on a microphone. Yeah, you're definitely a full-time performer. The Israel-Palestine conflict is a personal issue for HP. Her/its family moved from Moscow to Israel when she was 2 and lived there for 5 years before moving to the United States to escape the chaos of the First Intifada, the Palestinian popular uprising against Israeli occupation that lasted from 1987 until the signing of the first Oslo Accord in 1993. Many of HP's relatives still live in Israel, and she describes her family background as avowedly Zionist. So this person's entire family is turbo-Zionist and is massively ass-hurt over being inconvenienced by the First Intifada. But she/it is a leftist pro-Palestine activist and a performer whose entire shtick just happens to gross out all normal people and make them think pro-Palestinian people are insane weirdos. Sure thing, Palestinians would literally throw you off a building. You have to know that. I know you know that. While HP has long been sympathetic to the Palestinian cause as a result of her/its long involvement in leftist and queer scenes, she says it was the aggressively anti-Palestinian climate she has experienced in Germany since October 7th that made the issue front and center for her. The radicalizing effect has been entirely thanks to Germany, she says. I think the radicalizing effect was that everyone fucking hates the you-know-whos for being genocidal maniacs now, and you decided to poison the optics of the other side by being an egregiously obnoxious and flamboyant theater weirdo in public, talking about doing butt stuff while you're talking about Palestinian liberation. I do not believe that you are actually that tone-deaf. HP lives in a Berlin neighborhood home to one of the largest Palestinian communities in Europe, which has been particularly subjected to brutal police crackdowns in recent months. Yeah, to protect people like her. I don't think even members of the Palestinian diaspora, warped by exposure to Western culture and university dogma, are fond of this shit. I'm seeing these fleets and fleets of armed cops on my streets in my neighborhood, at my train station, it recalls. They're brutalizing women. They're arresting people for standing by themselves alone, just holding a sign. I even saw a helmeted German police officer stomping out memorial candles. The historical parallels of German police brutalizing a minority population do not escape her. If y'all are doing fascism, then I've got to be anti-fascist. I'm sorry. I'm Jewish and transsexual. It's in my blood. Fascism? It's Zionism. These are completely different things. And let's not talk about what's in your blood. I might have to call Anthony Fauci and let him know about some new pandemics. And please, keep the word y'all out of your mouth. You're from the West Coast. Stick to saying hella if you people don't like cultural appropriation. But fucking everybody's starting to ape Southerners now, presumably just because Morgan Wallen made a few bangers. When HP moved from Los Angeles to Berlin in 2018, it was for what seemed like a more progressive country, with public transportation, rent control, and really cheap education and money for art. She also wanted to be in a country that she thought had dealt with its violent history better than the United States. In Germany, they've got monuments and there's shrapnel sticking out of the walls. Their history stares them in the face. It's not because they're better people, but, maybe because the rest of the world sort of forced it on them. But one way or another, I really did naively believe that Germany was better. This motherfucker is acting like the anti-Palestinian and Zionist climate in Germany is coming from some latent Nazism in the German race that has ceased its dormancy yet again, rather than being the product of the subjugation of Germany by the very people who are dropping the bombs on children right now. You're running cover for them, and everyone knows it.